what must that feel like? You spend just a modest amount of money, maybe a couple $1,000 on this dusty, locked metal box.
Right.
And when you finally crack it open, you suddenly realize you are sitting on, like, a $300,000 fortune.
Yeah, that raw, instant treasure hunt feeling.
Oh.
That's the core of it, isn't it? That pure entrepreneurial gamble.
Exactly. And it's the whole promise behind A&E's massive hit series, Storage Wars. It's been running forever.
Oh, yeah, since 2010. It's
That's
become
right.
this global thing, really, more than 15 seasons now.
Wow.
And it just taps into that, that universal urge we all have for finding hidden wealth, pushing these professional buyers to bet their own cash.
On stuff they can barely even see. Just a quick glimpse for a few minutes.
Exactly. It's like this high-stakes poker game, but, played with other people's forgotten things.
And that whole combination, the high risk, the potential high reward, and sometimes, let's be honest, the high drama. That's exactly why we're digging into this today. You sent over this amazing stack of sources, right? Covering the biggest wins, the craziest finds.
Some really weird stuff in there.
Oh, yeah. And the rules of the game, but also, importantly, the huge controversies, the lawsuits, the questions about whether any of it is actually real.
Yeah, the authenticity question hangs over the whole thing.
Yeah.
So our mission here in this deep dive is really to unpack all of that.
Okay.
We need to look at the excitement, those incredible paydays, but also balance it with the uncomfortable side, what happens behind the scenes.
And what those lockers really mean, fundamentally.
Right. The calculated risks the buyers take, sure, but also this massive business built around, ultimately, abandoned goods, things people left behind.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Right.
Starting with the fundamentals of the hunt. The actual rules and the legal stuff that makes it all possible.
Okay, so the premise is actually pretty rigid. It's based on state property laws, especially in California, because that's where they film most of it. And the rule is pretty straightforward. If someone doesn't pay their storage unit rent for a set time, usually about 3 months in California,
2 months, okay.
then the facility owner, under what they call lien laws, has the legal right to sell everything inside at an auction, just to get back the money they're owed.
And the challenge for the buyers, who are basically professional gamblers, let's face it, it's pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
They have to agree to buy the whole unit, everything inside, as one single lot. Cash only.
Yep, cash on the barrel.
And the killer part, before they bid, they only get about 5 minutes, maybe less sometimes,
Sometimes less, yeah.
to look inside. But they have to stand outside the doorway. They can't go in, can't touch anything, can't rummage.
Nothing. And often these units are dark, You need a flashlight just to see the back corners.
So it really comes down to instinct, experience,
Yeah.
spotting tiny details.
Exactly. That's paramount. They're looking for anything, really. A glint of metal, maybe the edge of an old painting frame, sealed boxes that might mean inventory.
Or just like the absence of obvious junk, maybe.
That, too. It's a pure risk assessment based on the absolute briefest look.
So once they win, what happens then? They just haul it all away?
Pretty much. They haul away their potential fortune.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, just a massive pile of trash. Then they sort it all out meticulously.
Yeah, okay.
Estimate the resale value. And this is the key part for shows big numbers. They bring in specialized experts, third-party appraisers for anything unusual or potentially high value.
Gotcha. And running this whole chaotic show are the auctioneers, right? The husband and wife team, Dan and Laura Dotson.
Yeah, from American Auctioneers. Dan's got a long history, been a professional auctioneer since, 1974. His delivery is super fast, very authoritative. You know the style.
Oh, yeah, that rapid-fire chant. And Laura, she has that signature line at the end.
Don't forget to pay the lady.
That's the one. They really provide the structure, the energy for the auctions. Their dedication seems pretty intense, considering how many auctions they must do.
Absolutely. And they've had their own share of drama off camera, too. Remember back in 2014, Dan had that incredibly serious medical scare.
Oh, right, the double brain aneurysm. That sounded terrifying.
It was. Doctors apparently gave him a really low chance of survival, like maybe 4 to 20%. Just awful odds.
Wow.
But incredibly, he pulled through the surgery. He was out of the hospital in just over a week. Just amazing resilience. They really are the heart of that operation.
Okay, so we have the rules, the auctioneers.
Yeah.
What about the buyers themselves? They seem like such distinct characters.
Oh, definitely. It's like a carefully curated cast of personalities, right? Each with their own style, their own specialty.
So who are the main players? Let's start with Daryl Sheets, the gambler.
Yeah, Daryl. He's known for those huge risks, betting big on units that look almost empty or just totally chaotic.
And his catchphrase, this is the WIW factor.
That's it. Usually right before he drops a ton of money on something.
Yeah.
He mostly sells his finds at a big weekly swap meet and online too. Volume seller, looking for those big flips.
Okay. And then there's the guy who probably stirred up the most trouble, Dave Hester, the mogul.
Ah, Hester. Yeah, definitely the polarizing one, the antagonist, really. Known for being aggressive, but also, you gotta admit, usually very successful. Rarely seemed to miss.
And that UUP shout, you can't forget that.
No way. It's iconic for the show. But apparently, that U-up actually came from something practical.
Oh, really? What?
He started out as an auction bid catcher. You know, the guy in the crowd who spots the bids and signals the auctioneer, especially in noisy or dark places.
Ah, okay.
So he needed this loud, unique sound to cut through everything. And U-up, it just stuck and became his brand. His low miss rate made him the perfect villain for the show.
Interesting. Okay, who else? Barry Weiss, the collector. He seemed different.
Barry was definitely unique, a fan favorite, kind of eccentric. The key thing about Barry is that he didn't need the money. He was already wealthy.
Right, I remember reading that. He sold a business.
Yeah, he and his brother ran a huge fruit and vegetable distribution company. Sold it for millions. So for him, Storage Wars was purely about his passion. He loved antiques, weird items.
Maybe the fame a little bit.
Oh, probably a bit of that too, yeah. He approached it more like a treasure hunter, a curator, not like the other guys who were really hustling for profit.
Then there are the original young guns, Jared Schultz and Brandy Passante.
Right, with their now and then thrift store. Their whole dynamic was built on that constant bickering, right? They always had totally opposite ideas about bidding.
Yeah, it made for some tense moments, but didn't they split up?
They did, both personally and professionally. It came out in season 13, I think. Now they actually bid against each other on the show.
Yeah.
Adds a whole new layer of drama.
Wow, okay. And Renee and Casey Nizota, the bargain hunters.
Yeah, Renee and Casey, they're much more methodical, analytical. Renee's originally from Germany. They really focus on finding stuff they know they can sell quickly in their big thrift store.
So more about inventory turnover than hitting one massive jackpot.
Exactly. They're looking for consistent profit, things they understand the market for.
Yeah.
Very businesslike.
And finally, Ivy Calvin, the king.
Ivy, yeah, he's got that physical presence, right?
Yeah.
Former MMA fighter, arena football player, owns grandma's attic thrift store.
He seems pretty straightforward, no nonsense.
Totally. Often brings his son Ivy Jr. along, too.
Yeah.
Just gets down to business at the auctions.
So these are the main folks risking their own money based on almost nothing. And sometimes that risk pays off spectacularly.
Oh, absolutely.
Which brings us to the next part. Let's talk about the biggest scores. We're talking serious money here.
Yeah.
From like $10 K up to the show's all-time record.
Right. And the absolute peak, the biggest profit ever shown on Storage Wars, that belongs to Daryl Sheets. The Gambler Strikes Big.
This was the art collection, right?
That's the one. Season 3. He bought a unit for, surprisingly, only $3,600. And it looked like it was just packed floor to ceiling with paintings.
But not just any paintings.
No, definitely not. It turned out to be the Frank Gutierrez art collection. Gutierrez was a well-known Mexican impressionist painter.
Wow.
The locker had something like 300 original paintings, drawings, decorated pieces. Just an incredible amount of work.
And the appraisal, what was the number?
The appraised value, the number that went on the show, was $300,000.
$300,000.
Right.
From a $3,600 buy, that's insane. That's the dream scenario right there.
It absolutely defines the whole premise of the show, yeah. But, and there's always a but with reality TV, isn't there?
Uh-oh. What's the asterisk here?
Well, while that $300,000 figure was announced on the show as the biggest find, the actual final sale price, or even the confirmed value, was heavily disputed later.
By who?
By Dave Hester, actually.
Yeah.
Daryl's big rival. Hester publicly claimed that the $300,000 valuation was inflated for TV drama.
Ah, okay. That fits the narrative we'll get into later, I guess.
Exactly. But even if the final amount was lower, the initial appraisal and just the sheer volume of that find cemented its place as the show's record breaker.
Okay, so $300 K is the peak. What about other big ones? You mentioned sources detailing finds around the $90,000 mark.
Yeah, there were a couple of really significant ones in that range. Shows how different kinds of collectibles can hit that high value. Dave Hester had one.
The mogul strikes again. What did he find?
He found a locker just crammed with huge stacks of old periodicals. Newspapers, magazines, flyers, thousands of them.
Okay, why was that so valuable?
Because they all shared one specific, very significant date.
Which was?
August 16th, 1977.
The day Elvis died.
Exactly. The entire collection documented that single massive cultural moment. Because it was so extensive, so focused, that collection, combined with some other Elvis stuff in there, was valued at $90,000.
Wow. So common items, newspapers become super valuable just because someone collected them obsessively around a key event.
Precisely. It's all about context and rarity through collection.
And Daryl Sheets had a $90 case score, too.
He did. And his was more about sealed inventory, collectibles. He bought a locker that was obviously the leftover stock from a comic book shop that went out of business.
Oh, nice. What was inside?
All sorts of sought-after stuff. G.I. Joes, Hot Wheels cars still in the package, and critically, over 300 valuable comic books, many likely in high grade.
So the sheer volume and quality of that collectible inventory pushed it up to $90,000.
Yep, just a massive haul for any collector or reseller.
Okay, how about the Nezhodas? Did the bargain hunters ever hit it that big?
They had some incredible luck, too, hitting around the $50,000 mark a couple of times. Renee took a huge gamble in season 10.
What was the risk?
He bought a unit that was mostly just plain cardboard boxes in those big plastic storage tubs. You know, the kind where you can't see anything inside? Always the biggest unknowns.
Right. Total blind buy, almost. What was in the boxes?
A retro gamer's dream. It was a massive collection of vintage video games.
No way. Like Atari, Nintendo.
All sorts. He actually took it to a YouTuber, Philip Braden, who's an expert, for appraisal. And with all the rare titles, sealed games, the whole lot was valued around $50,000.
50 grand for old video games. That's amazing.
It really shows how niche markets can explode in value.
Yeah.
And they hit that $50 K mark again later with a more traditional find.
What was that?
A collection of high-end antiques and decorative pieces. Antique silver, crystal, oil paintings, a grandfather clock, Asian statues, screens, ceramics, the whole 9 yards. That also came in around $50,000.
So they could score big with both niche stuff and classic antiques. Shows their range.
Definitely. They know value across different categories.
Even the smaller wins seem pretty impressive return-wise. You mentioned Dave Hester finding vending machines.
Yeah, that was a good example of knowing a specific market. He found a locker full of vintage vending machines. Not something everyone would know how to value or sell.
Right.
But Hester knew the market for those big, retro commercial items. The whole lot was valued at $27,000. Solid profit.
And Barry Weiss, the collector, he found engines.
Yeah, that was a cool one. He spent $1,700 on a locker, just jammed with scare car and motorcycle parts. Not usually his type of thing, maybe. But the real find was something like 30 complete engines mixed in there. He managed to sell those off for a total of $10,000. Nice return on $1,700.
Definitely. And Daryl had another one around $12,000 with artifacts.
Right, Indian and Asian artifacts. But the key there, what pushed the value, was just a few specific pieces. He found several antique Queen Anne chairs.
Ah, high-value furniture.
Exactly. Those chairs alone were appraised at around $7,000. So that really underlines the strategy, doesn't it? You're often digging through mountains of stuff, hoping to find one or two really incredible items.
The needle in the haystack.
Pretty much.
Okay, so those are the big numbers, the huge scores that make the show so addictive. But we have to talk about the other side now. The stuff they found that wasn't so much valuable as it was. Well, disturbing. Or just plain bizarre.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. Not just as, like, weird trivia, but because it really highlights the sometimes grim reality behind why these units get abandoned.
Yeah, you mentioned Tom Beers, the producer, saying they avoid the backstories because it's often just misery.
Exactly. All you see is misery there, he said. And it usually comes down to one of two things, really. Either the owner passed away and maybe their family didn't know about the unit or couldn't be reached.
Or they just couldn't afford the rent anymore, financial hardship.
Right. And because these units are private, locked away, sometimes the things left inside are deeply unsettling.
Okay, so let's get into it. What's the most macabre stuff the sources mentioned?
Well, the top one has to be Daryl Sheets again.
Yeah.
He revealed once, pretty candidly, that he opened a locker and found a human corpse wrapped in plastic.
Oh my God, seriously.
Yeah, the authorities were called, obviously. It was determined to be a murder victim, left there by whoever rented the unit previously.
That's beyond dark. That completely overshadows any thought of profit.
Absolutely. It just speaks to the potential hidden darkness in these forgotten spaces.
Okay. Anything else nearly that bad? Or just strange?
Well, on a, let's say, less terrifying but still very weird note, Dave Hester found a human skeleton.
Another one?
Yeah, but this one was different. It was professionally cleaned, articulated with nylon strings. An expert looked at it and said it wasn't, foul play.
So what was it?
It was a medical skeleton, the kind used for teaching in medical schools. Still pretty jarring to find, I imagine. It was valued at over $1,500. Not a treasure, but definitely memorable.
Definitely strange. Any other weird body parts or animal stuff?
Actually, yes. Daryl Sheets again, this time with his granddaughter Zoe. They found a bunch of animal skeletons in a unit.
Okay, like hunting trophies.
Not quite. He took them to an appraiser, a place called the Bone Room, and they told him the skeletons were actually illegal to sell
Why?
because they were determined to be roadkill. And apparently there are specific regulations against profiting from roadkill finds, so zero value there.
Huh. Roadkill regulations. You learn something new every day. Okay, moving away from the purely macabre, what about just oddball antiques? Barry Weiss must have found some weird stuff.
Oh, Barry specialized in high-value weirdness. That was his whole thing. He bought one locker for $1,500. The main piece inside was a vintage peep show machine. Still worked, apparently.
A peep show machine, like from an old arcade.
Exactly. He had a silent movie historian look at it, and that one piece was valued at over $5,000.
Wow. What else?
He also found this really bizarre sculpture, a huge wooden head, intricately carved, but it had glass eyes and actual dentures put into it.
Creepy.
Yeah, definitely unique. It was by an artist named Mike Meadow, valued at $6,000.
Okay, and then sometimes they find stuff that nobody can figure out.
Totally. There was the infamous whale in a jar.
The what now?
Daryl's son, Brandon Sheets, found it. It was literally a jar containing something. He couldn't identify it. It's called whale stuff. They took it to experts, and even they were apparently baffled. Some things just defy explanation.
Whale stuff in a jar. Okay. That's something. What's really interesting, though, in the more recent seasons, maybe, is how specialized some finds have become. You need real niche knowledge.
Absolutely. Like that thing Casey Nizoda found. She almost tossed it thinking it was junk. It was called a K-11 spear gun sight.
Okay, sounds technical. What is it?
She took it to an expert, thankfully. Turns out it was this really advanced piece of military tech from World War II, a compensating sight gyroscope.
A gyroscope. For what?
It was mounted in the nose of a B-24 bomber plane, and it used gyroscopic stabilization to help aim the plane's .50 caliber machine guns accurately while flying. Pretty revolutionary piece of tech for its time.
Wow. So important historically. Did it have value?
It did, especially because hers was in fantastic condition, museum quality, really. And it still had the rare internal lamp, which is often missing, so it was valued at $450. Not a fortune, but a cool piece of history saved from the trash heap.
Definitely. And Kenny Crossley, the Lord of Lancaster, he had some specialized finds too. Medieval stuff.
Yeah, Kenny won a unit that was just packed with medieval reenactment gear and also Western wear.
Okay, what kind of medieval gear?
Things like a couple of helmets, a nasal helm, a Norman helm, some articulated gauntlets, greaves for the legs, a wool cloak. Pretty standard reenactment stuff, valued altogether around $650.
Decent. But the Western gear was the real score.
That's where the specialized value came in. He found bull riding gear, including chaps, or chaps. Apparently that's the original term from the Mexican chaparreras.
Okay, learn something new again. Were the chaps valuable?
One pair was extremely valuable. They were unique Angora woolies chaps, made from Angora goat hair. Very distinctive fuzzy look.
Ah, okay. Rare.
Very rare, especially these because they seem to be custom made. In the world of Western collectibles, that made them quite sought after. That single pair of chaps was valued at $1,500.
$1,500 for fuzzy pants. Amazing.
It just shows, again, how deep the knowledge needs to go in this business. Specialized knowledge is the real treasure sometimes.
Okay, we've hit the highs, the lows, the weird, the specialized. But we can't wrap this up without tackling the elephant in the room. The big controversy that really shook the show's foundation. The lawsuits. The questions about authenticity.
Right. This is where we get into the slightly less glamorous side of reality TV. And the sources you shared really dive deep here. The main catalyst was Dave Hester, the mogul again.
What happened? He sued them.
He did. In 2012, he filed this massive lawsuit against A&E and the production company, Original Productions. Claimed wrongful termination, breach of contract. It was a big deal.
Then what were his main accusations? This is where the faking it stuff comes in, right?
Exactly. His lawsuit laid out some really specific damaging allegations. He claimed the producers staged entire units.
Staged them how? Like, put good stuff in bad lockers.
Precisely. He alleged they would salt lockers, planting valuable items, and he specifically mentioned that record-breaking Frank Gutierrez art find.
The $300,000 one.
Yeah. He claimed the producers had that art appraised weeks in advance, knew its value, and then planted it in Daryl's locker to guarantee a huge reveal for the cameras.
Wow. That's a huge accusation. Anything else?
He also claimed that the production company would give cash to some of the less successful cast members.
Why would they do that?
According to Hester, it was so those buyers could afford to bid on the more expensive, high-stakes lockers, ones that normally couldn't win. This created more bidding wars, more drama, basically ensuring an even playing field for TV.
So manufacturing conflict and jackpot moments by funding certain players?
That was his allegation, yeah. A deliberate investment in making the show more dramatic.
And the money the main cast was making. It wasn't exactly small-time hustler money, was it?
Not even close. Hester's lawsuit revealed some of his contract details. He claimed he was earning $25,000 per episode.
Per episode, wow.
Yeah, with a guarantee of at least 26 episodes a season. Plus, he said he got a $25,000 signing bonus and this huge, non-accountable expense account of $124,500.
Okay, so these guys weren't exactly struggling entrepreneurs scraping by. They were highly paid TV stars.
That's certainly what those figures suggest. It definitely blurs the line between the reality of the business and the business of the show.
So how did the network, A&E, respond to all this? Did they deny it?
Well, their response, especially their legal defense, was maybe the most revealing part of the whole thing. The executive producer, Tom Beers, did eventually admit to certain things,
Like what?
like scripting some lines for the cast interviews, the talking head segments, and also combining finds from multiple lockers. They might film, say, 30 auctions in a day.
30!
Yeah, and then edit the best bits together to make it look like one amazing locker reveal for a single episode.
Okay, so some manipulation admitted. But what was their main legal argument against Hester's claims of staging?
This was the kicker. A&E's lawyers argued the show was protected under the First Amendment as expressive free speech.
Expressive free speech. How does that apply to a reality show potentially faking fines?
Their argument was essentially, it's entertainment, not news. Therefore, they have the right to shape the narrative, even if that involves manipulating the process or the facts presented.
And did the judge buy that?
The judge did, sided with the network. The ruling basically established that there is no legal expectation for authenticity in reality television.
Wait, really? No legal expectation?
Nope. If it's presented as entertainment, as expressive speech, they can pretty much do what they want. It was a landmark ruling for the whole reality genre.
That's huge. So the implication for you watching at home is basically buyer beware. What you're seeing is definitely not guaranteed to be real.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The reality in reality TV is legally allowed to be quite flexible.
And this whole lawsuit thing, it dragged out other behind-the-scenes drama too, right? Cast conflicts.
Oh, yeah. It's shown a light on some rough stuff, like that
Yeah.
physical fight that happened on set in 2015.
A fight between who?
It got really heated during bidding.
Hmm.
Production actually had to stop filming because Dan Dotson, Dave Hester, and Laura Dotson got into this big shoving match.
Seriously? The auctioneers and Hester, what happened?
Apparently, Hester questioned one of Dan's calls. Things escalated.
Yeah.
Laura jumped in, reportedly scratched Hester's face,
Ouch.
and it got pushed to the ground pretty hard. It was serious enough they had to halt production for the day. Shows the real tension under the surface.
Definitely. And being famous from the show caused other problems too, like robberies.
Yeah, that's a downside of publicizing your winnings and where you work. Renee and Casey Nazota's thrift store, Bargain Hunters, got robbed after the show made them well known.
That's awful.
And even the Dotsons weren't immune. They were victims of a big cyber attack back in 2012. Credit card details, personal data stolen. Fame has a price.
And there were personal tragedies connected to the show too.
Sadly, yes. Mark Bolelo, you might remember him as Rico Suave. He appeared sometimes as a buyer with lots of cash.
Yeah, I remember him.
He tragically died by suicide in 2013, just days after being arrested for methamphetamine possession. Really sad story.
That is terrible. And didn't Jared Schultz also have some legal issues from his past come out?
Yeah. As his fame grew, it came out that he'd actually served 16 months in state prison back in the late 90s. Felony drug possession, transporting narcotics, DUI.
Wow. Quite different from the quirky thrift store owner image.
Definitely adds another layer to the reality being presented.
Okay, before we move off the controversy, there was one more thing in the sources. A massive score that the show didn't capture.
Oh, right. This is a great point. It really highlights what viewers don't see when the cameras are just focused on the main cast.
What happened?
Some regular person, not part of the show, bought a storage unit in Indio, California, paid just $500 for it.
Okay.
And inside that $500 unit was a mind-blowing amount of cash and high-value collectibles. When it was all tallied up and sold, the total came to $7.5 million.
7.5.
Million. Yep. From a $500 locker. It absolutely blows the $300K Gutierrez art find out of the water.
And the show missed it entirely because it wasn't one of their cast members.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that the real unscripted jackpots are happening out there, far away from the controlled environment of a reality TV set.
Wow. Okay, so despite all this, the authenticity questions, the lawsuits, the drama, the show is still going strong.
Incredibly so. It has this massive global audience, apparently shown in 220 countries and territories. It just keeps going.
And it's coming back for another season, season 16?
Yep. Sources confirm season 16 is set to premiere on June 7, 2025. And they're making a significant change.
What's that?
They're moving to expanded one-hour episodes.
Ah, longer episodes. More time for what? More fines. More drama.
Probably a bit of everything, right? More elaborate storytelling, bigger stakes. Could be more manufactured moments, too, potentially.
Right. And who's coming back for this new season?
A lot of the familiar faces. Brandy Passante, Kenny Crossley, Ivy Calvin, Renee and Casey Nizoda, Lisa Delarios, Dusty Riach, and, of course, Dan and Laura Dotson doing the auctions.
Okay, solid lineup. But the big news, the real shocker, is someone else returning, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. The controversial comeback. Dave Hester is returning.
The mogul is back after the lawsuit and everything.
He's back. He'd been gone since 2019, mostly because of all that legal fallout. But apparently there was some kind of confidential settlement reached with A&E.
And he recovered from a health issue, too.
Right, he had a stroke, which was apparently linked to severe sleep apnea. So he's recovered from that and is returning to the show.
How did he make his entrance? Quietly.
Not a chance. He apparently made this jaw-dropping comeback by just showing up and yelling his signature, "You up!" across the auction floor. Classic Hester.
Huh. And how did the other cast members react? Happy to see him.
Not exactly, according to the reports. People like Renee Nizoda, Ivy Calvin, Brandy Passante, they reportedly reacted with visible frustration. Not a lot of sympathy there.
So the old rivalries are probably going to flare right back up.
That seems to be the plan. He's back to drive up bids, be the villain. His return after the lawsuit and the health scare feels like a very calculated move by the show to reignite that classic drama.
Okay, so summing this all up then, it's quite a picture.
It really is. And if we connect this all to the bigger picture, what these sources really show us is that Storage Wars is this fascinating kind of perfect storm. It's part genuine entrepreneurial spirit, that gambling thrill.
Right, the treasure hunt aspect.
But it's also fundamentally a manufactured television spectacle. And that tension for you as a viewer is always there, knowing that the big wins, the excitement, it often comes packaged with, well, the results of human misery.
Yeah, the abandoned goods from people who died or lost their jobs or ended up in jail. It's the economy of forgotten lives turned into entertainment.
Exactly. Compelling TV, absolutely. But ethically complicated.
Definitely complicated.
Indeed. And thinking back to the judge's ruling that Storage Wars is protected as expressive free speech, that there's no legal need for it to be authentic.
Yeah.
Well, it raises a final, pretty important question for you, the listener, to think about. When you sit down to watch reality TV, any reality TV, what are you actually looking for? Are you seeking something genuinely real?
Or are you just looking for the most entertaining story, even if you suspect or even know that parts of it are staged or manipulated for drama? And maybe more importantly, what does your answer tell you about how you consume information, how you view entertainment versus reality in today's whole media landscape?